Do it every day. Don't let a day go by without your meditation. Don't do it. And someday, although in the beginning it seems useless, as we talked about in the Bible there, in the end, you'll be supremely happy, because that's God. God's presence will be with you. As I say, in this world existence, we find things which give us worry and cause us lots of trouble. I found a little something about the worry. I want to read it to you, just to give you a little break now. At this time, Master said, he says, you tell them a story once in a while, and it kind of breaks things up, see? In this world existence, we find worry. I think you all know about it. But this little poem, I know some of you read it, but it'll go once more. It says here, why worry? There are only two reasons for worry. Either you're successful or you're not successful. And if you're successful, there's nothing to worry about. If you're not successful, it says there's only two things to worry about. This is the way the worries go. Your health is either good or you're sick. And if your health is good, there's nothing to worry about. And if you're sick, there are only two things to worry about. You're either going to get well or you're going to die. And if you're going to get well, there's nothing to worry about. If you're not going to get well, that's right, there are only two things you have to worry about. You're either going to heaven or you're not going to heaven. And if you are going to heaven, there's nothing to worry about. And if you're going to the other place, you'll be so doggone busy shaking hands with old friends, you won't have time to worry. So why worry? I think that's all right. There's a little break. So, going on now about heaven. Saints lead their disciples back to heaven. Why? Because they have experienced heaven. Saints lead their disciples back to heaven. Saints and their teachers. If you follow them, just as sure as the day follows the night, you will find heaven if you follow a true saint or his teaching. That's why the channel of self-realization is so important. That's what Jesus did to his disciples, for his disciples. As you read his different sermons, how he felt toward them, Father, I want them to feel the same love that I feel. Master used to say, first time he met me, Doctor, will you always love me as I love you? Imagine it. Because he had tasted heaven and God's love. And many times he used to say to me, he used to give it to me in good shape, discipline me, and I'd begin to squirm. He'd say, I want you to be the best. Imagine, I want you to be the best. Well, you couldn't resist any more after that. Anyone who wants your highest good, especially to go to God and to find heaven, certainly must be followed, must be respected, must be loved. And so humbleness, lack of ego is necessary to find the heavenly kingdom. And that's why Jesus said about Nathanael, here comes Nathanael, who is without guile. Here comes Nathanael, who is humble, without ego. And because he is that way, Jesus said, he shall see angels ascending and descending from heaven. He shall see the finer forces of heaven. If you allow God's consciousness to come into you, if you rise above this worldly consciousness and feel the Christ consciousness within, the superconscious presence of God, then the heavenly rays are visible to you. Then the obstructions have been removed, because heaven lies within us. Here comes Nathanael, who is without guile, without ego, who is humble of heart, pure in heart. They are the ones that shall see God and see heaven. And so meditation is the answer. Meditation is the answer, and concentration. That we contact the presence of God, as we did this morning for a little bit. Meditation means concentration on God. If we can but feel His presence within, there'll be no question but you will follow. His Master said, let them taste the peace of God. They will follow. That's why I'm interested so much in meetings such as we have Friday night and also other places, because it helps the people to taste the peace of God. Tasting that, they come. Why? Because they want it, that's all. They feel the necessity of it. And if they persist, they will see heaven right within them. So these things are true. Meditation is the answer, as Master said. Meditate regularly. Regularly. Don't let a day go by. If you should happen to, due to sickness or some unforeseen event, make it up the next day. That's the way to beat this idea of duality in which we live. Make it up the next day. Do twice as much if you miss one day. God likes that very much. If you want to please Him, do that. And whatever you do, if you want to know heaven and its finer forces, work to please God. That's the simplest thing. That's the easiest thing. If you try to correct all your habits, you're swept away. There's so many. But if you just try to correct them as you can to please God, then He likes that. Because He's the one. He has everything. Universe upon universe. World upon world He has. What can you give Him? What can I give Him? One thing. Please Him through your love for Him. He doesn't have that. And so if you want to know heaven and all things, work only to please God. Love God. He is your life. Thou art my life. Thou art the sweetness which I do seek. God alone is. Realize that. And meditation is the way. The science of yoga is the way. Yoga means union.